Okay, brilliant. Eagle Podcast is pleased to say we're joined tonight by the very impressive and still champion of the United Kingdom, Lanchana Green. How are you doing?
Hi, good, thanks. How are you?
I'm brilliant. I can't believe how many podcasts have you been on?
I've only been on a couple.
Right?
Yeah.
It, for me, it's a bit of a non-brainer. And when I sort of like was asking around a few people, everyone was like, "Have you asked Lanch?" And I was like, "Lanch should be too busy. She's like a superstar." And then people were like, "No, no,
Nah.
she's a fan of it." And I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to ask, and then
Oh, yeah,
we sort of
definitely.
know each other a little bit. So
Yeah.
I'm chuffed that you've come on because I think it's fascinating. I see your stuff all the time on social media,
Yeah.
and I've
Oh,
just saw that girl who you've been training as well. She's looking fantastic, isn't she? Looking $1,000,000.
oh, Laura. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's doing good. She's on
that's.
holiday at the minute, yeah. Probably undoing
Oh,
everything, but
well, I
having a
suppose
good time though.
you've got to
Life's
live.
about balance. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a great place to start. How do you balance life, fighting, personal training,
Yeah.
and everything else that you do?
Oh, well, it's taken some doing to be fair, because when I first started, I don't know if how many people know, but I started Thai boxing when I was about 15, and
Yeah,
I did that for about 9 or 10 years, and then I went into jiu-jitsu and then MMA, and I've kind of always put training first,
wow.
and um, I wouldn't go to this birthday, I wouldn't go to that meal, I wouldn't do
Oh,
all these
wow.
social things, and I kind of um, put training first, and I don't regret that. That's got me to where I am today, and
Yeah,
you need that drive, you need that focus and determination. But more recently, I've started realizing that there are things I'm missing out on, and to try and find a bit of a better balance.
yeah.
So it's just things like now, a Sunday, I don't go into the gym on a Sunday anymore,
Okay.
just because that's there's a point where I was in the gym 7 days a week, and whether I was training, whether I was teaching, it's as much as I love the gym and I love my job and training, you need that bit of separation, and there's I take that little step back and just spend a day doing other things,
No, that's a valid point. Dedication
Mm,
can be the difference between success and failure, but it can also be the difference between sort of living and not living as well, can it? And you're right. I think there has to be a
yeah,
balance,
yeah,
um,
definitely.
because it's
Make
make time.
Yeah, make time for people, because it gets a bit lonely, like when you're training all the time, and uh, it's I've tried to make much of a bit more effort to see all those people around me, all my friends, family, and
Yeah, no, it's fair enough.
it's it's working out so far, so that's good.
So you've just had a fight which you've won.
Yes, yes,
Congratulations. I
thank
watched
you.
I watched the highlights.
Yeah,
Very very impressive. And I watched you fight. I think, well, it's the first time I've ever watched women fighting, and a few years ago, and I was proper blown away by the ferociousness of it. Um, like genuinely, I was like, I don't know what I was expecting. Um, I'd never really even watched anything on the UFC, but to sit there, sort of ringside, cage side, and watch that fight that you had,
yeah.
I was like, oh wow, like, and I took Emma with me, and I was like looking at her, and I was thinking, we were talking, and I was like, is this what you thought it was going to be? And obviously, Emma's like, her dad's heavily involved with MMA as well, and mixed martial arts and fighting. So
Uh-huh.
she's like, "Ah, yeah, I've seen like stuff like this before," but I was genuinely blown away. Like, I knew you weren't going in there to sort of like tap each other and stuff, but
Yeah.
I think there was a point where you were on your back defending, and the girl was trying to throw like elbows down on your face, and I thought to
Oh
myself,
yeah.
oh wow, like that is like I would have gone. I'd have been like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
that'll do me.
Oh
um,
man.
do you remember the fight? It was
Yeah,
the
yeah, that was a
girl.
tough fight.
Yeah, it was a really
Yeah.
good fight, and she didn't want to stand with you, did she? She wanted it all on the floor, and
Yes.
and she was
Yeah.
brutal. She was like a terrier. I was like, oh
Yeah.
wow. How
Yeah.
when you're training for someone,
Mhm.
just talk us through that for people who don't know much about fighting. How does the process work of selecting? Does someone approach you and say, "I want to fight you," or how does all that process work?
So Will, you know Will.
Yeah, yeah,
So he's my coach.
yeah,
He's obviously my partner as well.
yeah.
But he arranges the fights for me. So
Right.
he acts as a manager as well, and it's not too hard to fight on Made for the Cage, which is the one that you came
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Dale, the promoter, the owner of the show,
Mm-hmm.
he's always found me opponents. So yeah, once he sends me a name, I say yes, they say yes, and that's it. The fight gets scheduled, and we both get training, and meet on the day.
And what sort of when you pick an opponent or it gets scheduled, do you go on sort of YouTuber, or do you sort of try and find out who she is, or do you just think, do you know what? I'm an absolute lioness, and I don't care who's standing across, and I don't care who's standing across the cage from me. I'm just going to rip through them. Is there anything tactical?
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah. So I've always fought anyone and everyone, and that
Yeah,
was even through Thai boxing. My coach, same again at the time, Paul Hamilton, he
yeah,
would always find me the fights, and I have 100% trust and belief in my coaches. So whoever they say this is who you're going to fight, all right, that's who I'm going to fight.
yeah.
And then once I find out the name, then I'll go and I'll research. I like to know a lot about them. I like to
Okay.
what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, just for me to game plan. But I'm also quite adaptable, so I believe that
Yeah,
especially with the help of like Will,
yeah.
we do put a plan together. But it's MMA; anything can happen.
Mm,
They might not come out like we're expecting. They might have learned some different skills since I last watched them. So it's always that unknown you've got to be
yeah.
prepared for, I guess. But
Do you think?
go in there and do my best.
Yeah. Do you think, as a strategy, do you think that's what everyone does? Or is there some people out there who are willing just to think, it doesn't matter who's in front of me, I'm just going to go out there? Or do you have to be tactical and you have to learn people's strengths and weaknesses?
I believe so. I think so,
Okay.
because I think MMA now is evolving massively, and you have to have some kind of knowledge in all areas,
Yeah.
but you don't have to be great in all areas, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it's like a game of chess, like you're trying to create problems for
Yeah.
your opponent to solve, and you're trying to get past the problems they're putting
Yeah, yeah.
towards you, and
Yeah, yeah.
it becomes a game of who's the smartest sometimes, because
Yeah, yeah.
I
Smart. Yeah.
don't I like, as much as I love striking and everything, I'd rather leave without my face bashing, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No,
So
no, it's
the idea
that.
is to hit and not get hit, and
Yeah, no, that's it.
whoever does that the best kind of comes out on top.
And training for the fight, what sort of what's involved, as in, are you normally walking around at the same weight you fight at, or does it take a little bit of sort of cutting weight, or?
I'm one of the few that walk very close to my fighting weight.
That's got to be a big. That's got to be a big
The
plus.
Yeah, so I'm not a massive fan of cutting weight. I remember when the girl I last fought.
Yeah,
So we went to weigh in,
yeah,
and obviously I don't cut weight, so I always look quite fresh, and
yeah,
I don't look dehydrated,
yeah, yeah.
and I remember standing there and thinking, man, she looks tiny. Like,
Oh
she's
wow.
about 5'2". She's like quite lean, and I was
Yeah,
thinking, everyone thought I looked massive,
yeah, yeah,
like from the photos. And then I didn't see her again until the moment I stepped in the cage. And I got into the cage and I looked over to the side, And I was like, who the hell is that? Like, she
Yeah.
must have cut quite a bit of weight because she had filled right out.
Really?
And for a second, I was like, oh my God, she's massive. But, you know, and she was strong, and, you know, she was heavier, but so far my skill has been able to, you know, counteract that, and I haven't really had to feel the effects of the weight cut, so I'm happy with that.
No, that's amazing. I've seen some of your cardio videos that you've done in the past.
Yeah.
And obviously, you're not afraid, are you, to go into deep water? Like, I've seen some of your sessions, and it's like, the best things happen when you start getting uncomfortable. I say that a lot when I take people out hiking, and and you know, when you're fighting, have you ever been exhausted but thought, I've still got a long 60 seconds ahead of me, and you've managed to find, haven't you? What's sort of been in your last fight? You seemed to finish it quite quickly. Were you quite happy with that, or did you think, I've trained hard, I wouldn't mind a bit of a battle?
No, I was pleased with that because a lot of my fights have gone the distance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's. I would say most of my fights have actually, yeah, a lot of them have gone the distance anyway. So I'm used to fighting for those 5-minute rounds. You know, I always prepare for that, but I was super pleased to get that finished within 1 round. So yeah.
And do you feel like you're winning a fight? How does it feel from a fighter's point of view when you're in the cage with someone? Do you psychologically feel like it's going your way, or what's the sort of mindset like? Is there a lot of nerves coming down the ramp and then getting inside the cage? Like,
oh yeah. Honestly, I tell my friends and all the time, I'm absolutely terrified when I'm waiting backstage, and it's like, and the guy comes over and he's like, right, you're on in 5 minutes. That's when it's like, shit, this is really happening. And you know, I go for a final pee stop, and I'm like, God, I could just stay in the toilets and just not go out there, and everything will be fine. And and then I'm waiting, but as soon as they play my music, and you know, I have a song that's quite upbeat, and I make my walk down to the cage, and I'm still nervous, and I get in there, but you know, I've learned to try and just be in the moment as much as I can. If I start worrying about what's going to happen, am I going to win? Am I going to lose? Is it, you know, it deters from your focus. So I actually work with a sports psychologist, and Will's quite handy in that aspect as well. So I just try to be in the moment as much as I can.
And then as soon as the bell goes and you've touched gloves, and then is that it? Are you just in the rhythm then? Does it just instantly change and you're like into your game plan and your strategy?
Yeah. So as soon as that bell goes, what's happened before that fight, you know, in all the training sessions leading up to that is a specific game plan. So for the last girl, we were really working on a really low inside leg kick, and so I knew as soon as that bell goes, I'm going to walk out, that's exactly what I'm going to throw at the right moment, you know. And but it's almost, even though I'm thinking about it, we have drilled it so many times over and over and over, to the point that I hate training because it's just the same session over and over again. But it's ingrained, you know. It's I get you know what I mean. So.
And it's sort of it interests me, the whole fighting thing. It's something that, as a race of people, we've done since the dawn of time, and it's something that we'll do, I think, until our last day. And what do you think it is about fighting and sport and competition that sort of gets the human beings going? Do you know what I mean? It's like we're drawn to it, aren't we? What do you think it is? What do you think puts it down to?
I think, for me, it's that challenge, and you'll know yourself as well. Like you said, being uncomfortable is where you're going to grow the most. And, you know, there's training sessions where, especially maybe it's in jiu-jitsu, I've got someone on top of me, they're trying to choke me, and you know, and I have to mentally stay there and not panic and find my way out, find the way to win. And it's all these challenges that you know, make us grow as people. And I think there's so many benefits to training, to sport, even if you don't do it for competition. Even just getting out there and traveling as well to different places, training with different people. You know, it's just it's good culture to be in.
Yeah, it certainly is. And sort of, I see a lot of your stuff, and you're training a lot of sort of women, and you're definitely flying the flag, aren't you, for women within combat sports?
Trying to.
Well, no, I think you're doing a great job. And would you like to see more women coming into the gym? And is the hardest thing stepping through the door for the first time? And how do you?
Hello?
Are you back?
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. You're back. And is the hardest thing stepping through the front door?
Yeah, I think for most people, the hardest step is. I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
Is that first step, because people have this misconception of what martial arts is. You know, they might just see the fighting side of it and all the blood splattering everywhere, and you know, they might not see all the training that's involved, the lifestyle that comes with it, the eating well, the looking after yourself, the meeting new people, the learning, the growing. It's something I'm definitely trying to get more women into. And usually once they step through the door and they get a little taste for it, you know, they tend to enjoy it. But yeah, like you said, it's just getting them through the door.
No, you're doing a great thing. What opportunities has it lended itself to you? I know you had a stint on the UFC show, and you've met some fairly famous people. What was that experience like? And do you hope to go back there one day? And what's your thoughts on that at the moment?
Yeah, so I was in the Tough House for about 7 weeks. That was a crazy experience. It was like Big Brother, but the fighting version. So you don't get any contact with the outside world whatsoever. There's no phones, no books, no music, nothing. And you literally live in this house and you train twice a day, and every week someone is paired off to fight until there's a winner. And that was brilliant. It opened up a lot of doors for me. I've been able to travel to America, I've been to Brazil, I've been over to Australia to train at all these different places.
Wow.
And yeah, it's you know, there's a time when I wasn't in England very often.
Nice.
So
that's great.
It was cool, yeah.
And did you get to meet the main man himself, Mr. Dana White?
I did, yes.
And is he comes across as a nice bloke? Do you have a good relationship with him?
Do you know what? No, like we're not like buddies. Really. I met him obviously on the show. I had a little bit of interaction with him, but that's been it. Yeah, I've had no call from him as of yet. But you know, I'm still quite early in my career, so.
No, I believe, and a few other people that you know believe, that I think you'll definitely go back to the UFC. Like, you're just a full package, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't see why you won't end up there. You do everything, and it's a testament to yourself. I think as well, fighting's come, like it or not, social media and how you market yourself outside of fighting has become a massive side of it as well. How do you manage sort of social media and marketing and revenue and all that sort of stuff? What else are you involved with that, you know, pays the bills?
So I only teach at the lab. Well, actually, I have a part-time waitressing job as well, which I actually. Hey,
there's there's nothing wrong with that.
It's,
what did Rocky do? Rocky worked down the meat. Rocky was down the meat, wasn't he? You could be down the meat truck.
I could be having a really nice cafe in town. So yeah, but I just try and I like to focus on getting women into the gym, just because I enjoy training them, and eventually, you know, there might be training partners for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Which, because I really enjoy training with women, and I usually have to travel. Like my last two training, like sparring partners for my last fight were from one was from Bradford and one was from Ilkley. So
wow,
Keighley.
Yeah, Keith,
so
yeah.
you know, I was traveling down there to spar with them, and they would come and see me. So yeah, can't remember where I'm going with that.
No, you were saying about other things that you do from outside the gym.
Yeah. So just trying to get more girls in. Got like a ladies class where a lot of them are mums, so they bring their kids along.
Cool.
And do the waitressing. I'd like to get another walk organised actually. With
Adventures, definitely.
Yeah, they loved it last time.
Yeah, we had
it was good.
Yeah,
it was something a little bit different for us, you know.
It certainly is. It's something that social media, and I'll tie it all in. But in what I do, social media is a sort of a bit of a dark arts, and I feel like there's a lot of oldie worldy things, and I think probably fighting is maybe one of them as well. All the hype train that goes into sort of like, especially with the UFC now and Bellator and other these organisations, is it becoming part of the game now to promote your fight by being negative towards your opponent? And what's your take on it? Like, do you think a lot of it is manufactured? I just like a good fight, but I understand that some people like they like the hype, don't they? They like the conferences that go sideways and people kicking off at each other. But do you think it's necessary, or do you think it's a necessary evil to sell tickets?
I feel like it's going down that route. I'm not that kind of person. You know, the reason my nickname is Mean Green was because I'm just the complete opposite. Like, when I used to go to I still do, like to my weigh-ins and stuff, I'm like, oh, hi, nice to meet you, I'm Lanch, you know, and I'll shake their hand, and Paul, my coach, would be like, God, will you stop smiling at everybody, jeez. You've got to punch your head in tomorrow, and I'm like, fine. You know, so I had to, you know, it's not in my nature to hate on somebody for, you know, I couldn't fight if that person wasn't there, you know.
No.
It takes two of us, but you know, I do understand that it does sell tickets. People like to see that, and for some people it works. But personally, it's not for me.
No, look, if it's not your personality, then you can't.
Well,
you can't pull it off, can you?
Yeah.
And you know, if it happens organically, I think then fair enough. If you ever come across someone who you really think I don't like that person, and something gets said, and that happens organically. But I think sometimes there's stuff going on where it's like it's definitely manufactured. You know what I mean? Where people have said to each other, "You say this, and then I'll do that, and then we'll do this, and then obviously
and
on the night
good for TV."
And unfortunately, I think it's definitely a part of it. And how important do you think, like, social media now is king, isn't it, or queen, whichever way you want to look at it? How do you use it in your own career, and how do you use it sort of down the lab as well to sort of promote what you're trying to do?
Yeah, so it's big for me because I have quite a big following, and I just try and let people get an insight into, you know, what goes on behind the scenes, what goes on daily. You know, I try to put up some training sessions on there, but then have coming back to the balance thing. You know, I'm not just this machine that trains every single day and doesn't take a day off. And you know, I'll put stuff up there, like a little bit of my personal life as well. So if I'm out for a walk, if I'm like gone for coffee, you know, stuff like that.
It's good because that personalizes you to someone who's like, let's just say, for example, maybe they've just had a kid, or they want to get back into fitness, or you know, they see a persona on Instagram and they think, well, I'm nowhere near her standard, so I'm never ever even going to ask the question. And I think what you're doing there, and especially you're really good at it, your training sessions all look fun, but obviously hard work as well. Like it doesn't look like some scene out of Bloodsport is what I'm trying to say. Do you know what I mean? Where you've got to be a straight up killer just to walk in the gym. And I think especially with your stuff, yourself in the lab as a gym, you do that really well. Like it's a serious side of training, but as well, I think it's for everyone to have the confidence to walk in to the gym and say, I'd quite like to do some training, and that's a sort of good side. How is Will? I've sort of trained a little bit with Will, and he is a deceptively strong man. The saying "never judge a book by its cover" is 1,000% true, and I had such a great time doing that. I did it for 6 weeks with him, and I'd recommend anyone to just go along and just to sort of lightly spar with another human being. Just sort of changes your whole aspect, and even if you think you're fit or a good runner, or I'm personally strong hill walker, but again, it puts you into deep water because your body's like, well, hang on, this is completely different. And it reminds me again of being, I almost felt like I was unfit. Do you know what I mean? But it was really, it was really good. And it's good to sort of just learn new things and just sort of change your routine as well. What sort of things do you teach down the lab when you're teaching your women's and your normal classes?
So I have a mixture of clients. I've got girls that just love coming down and like smashing the pads, and you're not overly focused on learning. Not learning to fight. It's not something they ever want to do. It's just a bit of stress relief. It's fun. It's it's something a little bit different. Very cardio intense. And then I've got girls that actually want to learn, and maybe it's from a bit of a self-defense perspective, or they're just using it as a way of keeping fit, but they still like the mental side of learning. Oh, so what if I do this? What would happen if they do that? So that's cool. And then like I said, I've got the mums as well that come down, and they just like to do a bit of workouts. Sometimes we lift weights, sometimes we do circuits. It's quite a good mix of ladies and guys at the gym.
And away from fighting and MMA, what other things do you enjoy doing? What's Lanch's downtime? What does it involve?
Downtime. If I'm not in fight camp, it involves cake. Coffee and cake.
Cake is the enemy.
It's so hard though. So good though. I just like being outdoors actually. So that's why I was really up for the hike. And try something different. I'm not used to heights and stuff, so that was good. It
was certainly high.
I bloody shit myself.
You know what? It was sort of amazing because we had a really great group, and that route itself holds a lot of challenges. And when I sort of spoke to Will about it, and the way it was pitched was like, it's like that long ring walk to your opponent, and then you sort of see him, and you think, "There's no way I'm fighting that guy." And then actually, that sort of walk round the tarn, and then you're standing there, and it's such an ominous bit of rock, isn't it? Like, it's so imposing. It psychs. I've literally seen it psych loads of people out, and I always sort of say to people, like, when I'm on it, and like, you've got to attack it. Do you know what I mean? You've got to show it that you mean business.
Yes.
Because if you're sort of dead timid with your movements, it'll be like, oh, we've got one here, and it's I've just sort of done something down in Wales, which was like probably 2 stages harder than that, and I was like, wow, this is again really, really interesting. But yeah, that was a great day. And for those who don't know, we did Jack's Rake last year as sort of a collaboration. and we had perfect weather.
It was
great
lovely.
group of people, and it was just a cracking day out. But no, you can't beat the outdoors for therapy, especially for and let's touch on this actually. It seems to be the hot topic at the moment, mental health. What's fighting routine and structure is good for mental health, would you say?
Yeah, fighting it. Do you mean training?
Yeah, sort of just being having a purpose and being regimented and that sort of outlook.
Definitely. I feel definitely having a bit of routine and getting involved in something that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be MMA. You know, it could be walking. It could be anything. Just to walking even more, because you get to clear your mind or actually just think about stuff and try and think about stuff rationally, and without the input of anybody else and stimulation from phones and like all the information overload that we get. But training definitely, because I just think like martial arts.
Yeah.
Just because, like I said before, it can just put you in some very uncomfortable positions, and you're learning to hurt each other basically, and to not get hurt, and it's quite a, what's the word, when you have to get rid of your ego, humbling. It's a humbling experience, you know.
No, absolutely. We've become obsessed with phones, and we've become obsessed with likes and comments.
Yes. And
I feel like it is very egotistical now, and especially, well, for me, when I go back to sort of hiking and back to nature, you get that stimulus from a challenge, don't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's real stimulus, not, I've got 50 likes on a photo. Like, what does that even mean? It holds no it holds no purpose. People who, I say this now, people who don't know you can't judge you. Do you know what I mean? And accountability is a big word that's definitely getting thrown around. You said before you work with a sports, did you say
psychologist?
Psychologist. How does, and do you listen to people like David Goggins and Gary Vee and people like this, like sort of mindset people, and what is it that you do?
Not in particular. I started working with Rob, he's called, because I went through a stage of
what's his name and his business? Give him a plug.
Rob Dawson at Mindsport Consulting. Yeah.
Hello, Rob.
Hello, Rob. So I started working with him a few years ago now. So I went through a stage of losing fights, losing bouts, like in competition, and my confidence just went like down here. I was like, I'm not good enough to do this. Maybe I should do something else, you know. And together we just started reframing my thought process, really, and and remembering everything I'd done to get to this point, that point. And this was just a little bump in the road, and that's what life's about. Everything can't all be flying high, there's ups, there's downs, there's forwards, backwards, and as long as you're remembering the bigger picture and focusing on what you really want to do, there's always ways around things, and as long as you keep working forwards and surrounding yourself with people that are encouraging you as well, you can achieve whatever you want to achieve. So
no, that's interesting. That do you know who David Goggins is? Have you ever heard of him?
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. I watch a lot of his stuff, and he's got this thing at the moment. He's got an accountability mirror, and he'll be on one, and he'll be like, "Yeah, you need to look in the accountability mirror," and you look at yourself, and that's the only person you got to blame for everything that's going wrong in your life. And,
exactly. Yes. 100%.
And there's too many people at the moment, sort of just, I think, just not being a little bit true to themselves, and unfortunately, the powers of social media are good, but as well, you know, I'm lucky that I've got a good partner that sort of keeps me leveled, and I think that's very important because as your social media persona grows, I think your ego can grow, even at sort of a smallish level. Say you got 3,000 followers or whatever, but you were doing well. You can start to believe your own hype. Do you know what I mean? But if it all crashes and burns, I think it puts a lot of people in a bad spot. So it's mindset's a big thing, isn't it?
Definitely. And you know, it's that whole putting too much weight in what people think about you, and
absolutely.
you know, and being this person, and then if that kind of role's been taken away, you know, say okay, so I'm a fighter. That's one of the roles that I do. You know, if I break my leg today, I'm not fighting for a while. But that doesn't mean that I'm not still me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, obviously it's terrible, and you know, even if I was written off and I couldn't fight ever again, obviously that's sad. But it doesn't. But fighting doesn't define who I am.
Yeah.
You know? There's a lot more different aspects to me.
Yeah, no, that's a great thing. And have you had any sort of, like, let's call them fake friends? Like, you've sort of got, you know, like you said, you've got a good following on social media. You've been on the UFC. You know, you're really active on the stuff in the UK fighting wise. Do you get sort of people, you know, trying to be your best pal and that, and all that sort of carry on? And how do you deal with that sort of? Who do you know that's who's your real friends? I mean, I suppose you only know when the bad times come, right?
Do you know, I'm quite grateful. I've got a good circle of friends around me, and some of my friends aren't even in Darlington. You know, there's people who I talk to every day that one lives in Australia, one lives down south. Wow. You know, and it's there's obviously a lot of people that comment on my social media who I don't have a clue who they are. And I tend not to really interact with them, just because it sounds awful, but I find it time consuming. You know, having to I'll respond to, like, if it's maybe a question, you know, I'll respond, and you know, I'll like comments and things. But do you
not have someone? Do you not have someone manage your social media? Is that something you would think about, or do you quite like being hands-on with it?
I quite like being hands-on because I think no, it's mine. Yeah. But in terms of advertising and stuff, that might be a little bit easier for someone else to do. I find that obviously that's a bit time consuming, you know, the posts and the time of the posts and but no, I still quite enjoy it though.
Yeah, it's good. I see that when you are in camp, do you get a meal? Who does all your meal prep for you? Have you got someone who meal preps for you?
No, I don't. I used Eat Clean Becky for like the sort of last week of my camp this time, just because I was so busy, and that really came in handy.
Cool.
But usually I do have enough time to cook my own food because I don't really have to cut weight as such, you know. I can eat a wide variety of foods, so it's not as strict.
And I take it you sort of just have a good regimen anyway, sort of dietary wise. You're always on point-ish anyway, not up and down.
Yeah. Like I'll still eat pizza and like cake, and you know, and I enjoy chocolate and stuff like that. But I do try, and I like cooking as well, though. So you know, I enjoy cooking my own food.
What's your favourite type of food?
Anything but English, you know.
By English, do you mean like Sunday dinners and fish and chips?
Yeah, I don't really like Sunday dinners. I'm gonna get so much hate right now. Sunday dinners, like pies, chips, that sort of stuff. I'll eat them, but it's,
Yeah.
you know, I prefer, obviously my mum's Thai, so
Yeah, yeah,
I love
yeah.
Thai food.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, I've sort of become good friends with Kasana down at the massage, you know, on High Row.
Oh, yeah.
She's started coming out on some adventures with us, and I go there all the time. Sort of
Cool.
getting traditional Thai massage, and
Yeah.
I've been saying for ages I'd love to try some proper Thai food because I've never
Yes.
ever had it.
Have to.
But she's an amazing woman. She's another woman actually who's incredibly strong for such a small woman.
Oh, they all are.
Yeah,
Oh my God. Any
yeah,
Thai masseuse
yeah.
can absolutely cripple you. They're so strong.
Do
Yeah.
do you have stuff like that after or before fights or what?
Well, I actually, here goes another plug. Samantha
Yeah,
Layton is my
go
sports
for it.
masseuse.
Go for it.
And Stefan Abel is my chiropractor in Chesley Street.
All right.
So they look after me. They are such important people when it's in fight camp. You know, you're breaking our bodies down with training all the time, 2-3 times a day. You know, you're gonna pick up niggles and get tight and sore. So yeah, they're my two go-tos. But do you know what? I would really love a Thai massage. I need to go see that lady.
Yeah. No, yeah, I've been going for ages now, and she came out with us, and you know, because she's only quite a small lady, we're all sort of dead long and leggy. She worked really, really hard to keep up with us all day, but you know what? She was an absolute tigress because she didn't whinge once. She just proper knuckled down. I think she was the furthest she'd ever been by about 3, maybe 4 or 5 miles.
Yeah.
And towards the end, I thought I was gonna have to maybe carry her, but she was like, "No, I'm gonna carry on." And she finished it. And I love going there. I mean, I go at least once a month, maybe twice. Great vibes, great place, and like you said, if your body is your income, then you need to look after your income, don't you?
Definitely.
And I've had sort of sciatic nerve and sort of just tightness all the time, but you go in there and they get hold of them hamstrings, and it's like, here we go, here we go, and you know they start climbing on the bed, and that you think, right, is that your knee and my
hand? Yeah. An elbow. Yeah.
But the pressure's amazing. No, look, it's what it's about, isn't it? And I'm all about sort of trying to keep, for me, things localish. So like I use them, but northeast businesses I try to palm myself up with. Do you know what I mean? I'm very important with that. I know Clean Becky, who you use, we both know her. She's from Dalton. Which restaurant, which coffee shop do you work at?
Well, I work at Hatch.
Oh, right. They do really nice coffee, don't they?
They do, yeah.
I haven't had any of the cakes yet, though. What's the cakes like? Let's talk cakes.
Cakes are good. Their food's good. Their food's good because it's there's a lot of healthy options on there. They do like these bowls. So they have like halloumi bowls, hummus bowls,
nice.
chicken, you know. So if you're into salads and like olives and halloumi and hummus and all sort of stuff, they've got some, and then they have like like eggs on toast and granola yogurt, all that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, I think I'll have to go down there and get their lattes are extremely good. Their coffee's good, really good.
Yes, yeah. I'm working on my nice little art in the coffee.
Oh well,
I've just been talking about that this morning. So
that's fair.
It's fair enough. Hearts.
Well, you should get a set of little boxing mitts or something. And try and make a little set of boxing mitts.
Oh my God, yes.
And then that can be your thing. Then, do you know what I mean? That you could trademark that. You can have that one for free. We've absolutely smashed through this, by the way. We're up to coming close, so we'll start to wrap things up. So I always end the show with the 5 watts. So. Have you got them? Some people write them down, but
I did. I had to have a think.
Yeah, no, it's good. So the first what is what's the greatest advice you've been given?
Yeah, so I might have said this already. I'm not sure.
No, go for it.
But basically, someone told me, Will, that I should be who I am instead of what people expect me to be.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
once I stopped worrying about, especially with fights, oh, what if everyone expects me to win? What if I lose and people think I'm shit? What if, once I stopped worrying about all of that, just be who I am, it made things a lot easier. So that's my advice.
Brilliant. Yeah. Number 2, what's on your bucket list, either professionally or personally, whichever one you want to shoot with?
Oh, okay. Personally, it's just things that people have probably already done. Like, I've never been to a festival before. I've never been on like a girls' holiday. I said, when I did my Thai boxing, I was so focused on training that I didn't do all these like girly things and so and traveling. I love to travel, so there's plenty of places in the world I haven't seen yet. So that and just keep fighting. It's something I enjoy doing, and if I can make it a career, that's even better.
And when you finally do land in the UFC, who would you fight? Who sits at your weight? Who's the current
champ? Is Rose Namajunas, the Thug Rose.
Yeah,
that's her.
Yeah. Let's hope she's gone. Yeah, she's an extremely tough lady.
Yes.
Yeah, she's very good. Number 3, what's your toughest day?
My toughest day is it was only recently that I actually got a car. I know this sounds really lame, but having to get the bus everywhere was so hard. And now I have a car. I'm like, man, I love life. It's taken me 5 minutes to get home instead of 45. This is so great.
Wow.
Honestly, just daft little things like having to lug my training gear forwards and backwards, get over to waitressing, get over to the gym. It was.
So you've had some toughest day was on the bus.
On the bus, yeah. I don't really have. Obviously, I have tough days. There's days where I don't want to go to the gym and do stuff like that. But all in all, John, like, I like my life,
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. The bus is a slog. That's anyone who's listening who's an upcoming fighter, you need to get on the bus and get some tough training. Get some tough training done. So number 4, what's the happiest day?
Happiest day for me,
either personally or professionally, whichever one you want to do.
Are we talking about like an actual?
So like maybe to
my life, or just when I'm happy.
What if maybe it was winning something or achieving something or finding something or finding someone? I don't know. A lot of people say kids. Do you know what I mean? Because I think it's like obviously it's the default answer. I know if someone's got kids, they're going to say, "Oh, it's when my son was born, or it was when my daughter was born." And that's fine. But it can change. But yeah, whatever you're thinking, whatever you think, whatever it was. Yeah.
Oh, do you know what? I didn't look at that question as in all those previous two, as in in my life so far. I thought you just meant on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, it's however you want to answer. No, it's however you want to answer it. It's however you want to answer it.
Oh, my happiest day. I'm not sure. I've had quite a lot. Winning fights is always one of the happiest days. But no, my happiest days, like, what's really cool is when someone or myself is preparing for a fight in the gym. So we're down the lab, we're in like wrestling class, and someone's getting ready, and the atmosphere, so it's a little bit more intense, and we're all pushing each other, and it's one of my favorite places to be.
Cool.
And everyone leaves feeling happy, feeling high, and it's really cool.
Yeah, that's a good answer. That when people say what makes me happy is when people who I know achieve. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, more than it's when I got a new car, or it's when I got a Ferrari, or whatever it may be. Number 5, and it's the last. What's next? So what's next for personally or professionally?
I am hoping to fight again in June time.
Awesome.
Yeah, June, July. So I'm just ticking over the training at the minute. And hopefully I'll have another 2 or 3 fights this year.
Right.
That would be good. I turned 30 as well. So I'll be having a party if you want to come along.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. 100%.
But yeah, that's it. Just more fights, get more women into the gym. You know, keep the momentum going there, and just keep doing what I'm doing. You know,
it's amazing, Lanch. And where can people find you, and where can people find the lab, as in social media and in the real world?
Yeah, so the lab is based on Favordale Industrial Estate in Darlington.
Yeah.
And the lab and myself are both on Instagram.
Yeah.
Find me at Lanchana Green, as well as Facebook, Lanchana Green MMA.
Yeah.
And it's the lab Darlington on both social media as well.
Awesome. Brilliant. Mate, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. That's 50 minutes just like that. Gone.
Wow.
Absolutely knocked it out of the park. I'll just end the show there. Thanks very much for coming on.
Thank you very much, John.
I'll get it sorted. Bye.
Okay. Bye.